Section 1. Hey guys. Tonight we're slipping into the shadows of Victorian London, where the gas lamps flicker and the cobblestones hum with secrets. Picture yourself stirring on a lumpy mattress, the air thick with coal dust and a whiff of cheap perfume as the city's chaos creeps through your window. This is 1857, and you're a worker in a Haymarket brothel. Not exactly the fairy tale you'd expect for a bedtime story, but trust me, it's a raw, human slice of history that'll pull you in. Fair warning, surviving this life? Tougher than a Dickens plot twist. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. I'm curious where you're all listening from, so drop your location and local time in the comments. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You open your eyes to a grey dawn seeping through a cracked window pane. It's early, maybe 5 a.m., and the chill of your small room bites at your toes. The bed creaks as you shift, horsehair mattress poking through thin sheets that haven't been washed in days. A wool blanket, scratchy but warm, clings to you like a reluctant friend. This isn't some posh Mayfair mansion. You're in a mid-tier brothel tucked in London's Haymarket, where the facade is respectable, but the reality is anything but. The walls, draped in peeling floral wallpaper, whisper of dampness and time. You stretch, feeling the tension in your shoulders ease, and catch the faint hum of the city waking up. Hooves on stone, a vendor's distant shout for bread. Your roommate, Lily, snores softly on her narrow bed across the room. She's younger, maybe 19, with auburn hair that clients fawn over. You're Mary here, though that's not the name your parents gave you back in the countryside. 2 years in this house have made you a fixture, a survivor in a world where girls come and go like shadows. Some climb to fancier houses, others vanish into the slums or worse. You sit up, the cold floorboards stinging your bare feet, and wrap a shawl around your shoulders. It's cozy, like a hug from someone who doesn't ask questions. A chipped pitcher on the table holds water with a thin ice crust. Winter in London doesn't mess around. The Victorian era, at its peak in 1857, was a time of stark contrasts. Glittering empire, grinding poverty. Brothels thrived in this hypocrisy, serving men from clerks to lords, while the women inside were scorned. Historians still argue whether these workers had more agency than factory girls or seamstresses, trapped by starvation wages. A quirky tidbit? Some brothels offered specialty acts like flagellation, catering to niche tastes. Victorians were weirder than their stiff collars suggest. You glance at the fireplace, its coal rationed to a pitiful glow. No toasty mornings here. You crack the ice in the pitcher, splash your face, and wince as the cold snaps you awake. Time to face the day. Let's be real. This life isn't glamorous. You're not living in a Jane Austen novel, swooning over a brooding Darcy. More like dodging disease and debt while keeping a smile plastered on. Jokes on society, though. They condemn you, but keep the clients coming. You hear the clatter of a cart outside, the vendor now yelling about oysters. Your stomach rumbles, but breakfast is hours away. You flex your fingers, still nimble from your seamstress days, and wonder how you ended up here. Spoiler. It wasn't a grand seduction, just survival. You breathe deep, letting the musty air ground you, ready to step into this world's strange rhythm. Section 2. You stand in your chilly room, shawl pulled tight, as the scents of Victorian London weave a strange spell around you. Coal smoke from 1,000 chimneys sneaks through the window, mingling with the faint lavender water you dabbed on yesterday, barely masking the musty tang of old sheets. But there's something else. A muddy, almost alive whiff from the nearby Thames, like the river's whispering secrets it's seen for centuries. You pause, nose twitching, wondering if that smell hides a story you'd rather not know. This house, perched in Haymarket's gritty heart, hums with its own life. Creaking floorboards, Lily's soft snores, and the distant clink of a maid stirring downstairs. You're about to step into a day where every scent, sound, and shadow pulls you deeper into this hidden world. You move to the window, its glass warped and streaked, offering a blurry view of the street below. A milkmaid trudges past, her pails swinging while a dog barks at nothing. The city's waking up, and you're part of its pulse, even if society pretends you don't exist. You turn back to the room, eyes catching the faded wallpaper, once vibrant roses now dulled by damp. It's a reminder. This place, like you, keeps up appearances. You share this space with Lily, her bed a mirror of yours. Narrow, lumpy, but a step above the slums. You stretch again, feeling your spine pop and smirk. Bet those posh ladies in their feather beds don't appreciate their mattresses like you do. In 1857, London was the world's richest city, its empire sprawling, yet half its people scraped by in poverty. Brothels like this one were open secrets, tucked between bakeries and boarding houses, serving men who preached morality by day. Historians still argue whether these women were victims or savvy entrepreneurs navigating a brutal system. A quirky fact: some brothels used coded ads in newspapers, like discreet lodgings for gentlemen, to dodge the law. You glance at the small table between the beds, where a tin of beeswax sits, your trick for chapped lips, a tiny luxury in a life that's more about survival than splendor. You grab the beeswax, warming it between your palms, and smooth it over your lips. The faint honey scent cuts through the room's mustiness, grounding you. Outside, a vendor's cry for hot pies slices through the morning fog, making your stomach growl. You're Mary here, a name that's both shield and mask. 2 years in, you've seen girls vanish, some to illness, some to better houses, some to the streets. You wonder about the new girl, Josephine. Her cough last night sounded rough. Is it just a cold, or something worse? You shake off the thought. Worrying won't change a thing. Instead, you focus on the day's rhythm. Wash, dress, eat, work. A horse cart rattles by, and you chuckle. Imagine if they delivered pies like they do coal. No such luck. Your bare feet hit the cold floor again, and you wince, muttering about needing thicker socks. The house is stirring now. Footsteps thud on the stairs, probably Mrs. Winters, the housekeeper, who runs this place like a general. You hear the faint clatter of coal being shoveled downstairs, the promise of warmth. You're not starving, not freezing, and that's more than you could say as a seamstress. But there's a hook in this life, a question that tugs at you. How long can you keep dodging the risks? Disease, violence, or just plain bad luck? You breathe deep, letting the mix of lavender and coal smoke fill your lungs, and step toward the door, ready to face whatever the day throws at you. Section 3. You pause at the door, hand on the knob, as memories of your seamstress days flood back like a bad dream you can't quite shake. The cold room fades, and you're back in a cramped attic 3 years ago, hunched over a pile of linen, needle pricking your numb fingers, eyes burning from squinting in candlelight. You were good, damn good, with stitches so fine they could have passed for machine work. But the pay? A cruel joke. 16-hour days for pennies that didn't cover rent, let alone food. You remember the gnawing hunger, the way your breath fogged in that unheated room, and the moment you realized this life was killing you, stitch by stitch. Something tugs at you now. What if you'd stayed? Would you still be breathing, or would the workhouse have claimed you by now? You shake off the thought, stepping into the hallway, its worn carpet muffling your steps. The brothel's warmth, faint as it is, feels like a luxury compared to that attic. You weren't tricked or seduced into this life, despite what the moralizing pamphlets claim. No, you walked in with eyes open, pushed by a simple math. Starvation wages versus a warm bed and 2 meals a day. Back then, a friend, Jane, with her warm wool dress and full cheeks, showed you the way. "One night here pays a week's sewing," she'd said, sliding a meat pie across your table. You'd eaten like a wolf, pride be damned. And her words stuck. You're not proud, but you're not ashamed either, just surviving. In the 1850s, seamstresses were among London's lowest paid workers, often earning less than factory girls despite longer hours. The British Quarterly Review called their work drudgery that makes factory labour look like play, and they weren't exaggerating. Historians still argue whether brothel work offered women like you more autonomy or just traded one cage for another. A quirky tidbit: some seamstresses moonlighted in brothels, sewing by day and working nights to make ends meet. Talk about multitasking. You smirk, imagining yourself threading a needle by day and dodging leering clients by night. No thanks, you're all in now. You head downstairs, the scent of coffee drifting up, a rare treat in a city hooked on watery chicory. The memory of Jane lingers. Her offer wasn't just food, it was a lifeline. You'd been raised proper, church every Sunday. But God didn't pay the rent when your parents died and your brothers scattered. You roll your shoulders, feeling the tension ease, and chuckle softly. Bet those church ladies would faint if they knew where their Sunday dresses were sewn. The brothel's not heaven, but it's not hell either. You've got a bed, food, and a madam who's strict but fair. Mrs. Cartwright's no saint, but she doesn't beat you or steal your earnings, which is more than some girls get. The stairs creak underfoot, each step pulling you back to the present. You pass a small mirror in the hall, catching your reflection. Cheeks fuller than in your seamstress days, eyes sharper, more guarded. You're 24 now, older than Lily, younger than Sarah, the house's unofficial accountant. You wonder about the new girl, Josephine. Her red eyes and shaky hands hint at a story not unlike yours. Did she fall from grace or just from hunger? The question hooks you, a nagging itch. What breaks a woman first, the world or her own choices? You push it aside, breathing deep, the coffee scent grounding you. The day's waiting, and you've got work to do. Section 4. You reach the bottom of the stairs, the coffee scent pulling you toward the kitchen. But first, you've got morning rituals to tackle in this Haymarket brothel. The house is waking up, its rhythm as predictable as a clock, and you're part of its machinery. You head back to your room, where lilies now stirring, muttering about a dream of the seaside. The cold floorboards nip at your feet, urging you to move fast. You grab the chipped pitcher, break the ice crust with a shiver, and splash your face, the sting snapping you fully awake. Your breath catches, then steadies, as you reach for a simple wool dress from the wardrobe. Nothing fancy, just practical for the day's chores. But as you lace your boots, a strange noise from the hall, a low, muffled thump, makes you pause. Is it just Mrs. Winters, the housekeeper, or something else? That hook of curiosity tugs, hinting at secrets this house might hold. You slip into the dress, stockings first, then petticoat, corset loosely tied for comfort. The routine's soothing, each motion grounding you in the present. You're not dolling up for clients yet. Daytime means blending in, looking like any seamstress or shop girl on London streets. Discretion's key. Brothels aren't illegal, but public solicitation is, and the police only turn a blind eye if bribes are paid. You smirk, thinking of the irony. Society's fine with sin as long as it's tidy. You twist your dark hair into a neat knot, no frills, and check the mirror. The face staring back is healthier than your seamstress days, but those guarded eyes betray the life you've lived. In 1857, London's population exploded to over 2.5 million, cramming people into slums and tenements, making privacy a luxury. Brothels like this offered a strange middle ground, public yet hidden, regulated by unspoken rules. Historians still argue whether madams like Mrs. Cartwright exploited their girls or protected them in a brutal world. A quirky fact? Some brothels had secret passages for high-profile clients, like MPs or clergy, to slip in unnoticed. You wonder if this house has one, hidden behind that peeling wallpaper. The thought's cut short by another thump from downstairs. Mrs. Winters, probably wrestling with a coal bucket. You chuckle. Imagine if it were a secret lover sneaking out. Not likely in this tightly run ship. You grab your shawl, wrapping it snug, and head out. The hallway's dim, lit by a single gas lamp, its flicker casting shadows that dance like ghosts. You hear Betsy, the 13-year-old maid, humming as she lugs hot water somewhere. She's too young for the house's main business, thank God. But in a few years? You push the thought away, focusing on the day's tasks. Your first job's breakfast, then cleaning, dusting the parlor, polishing glasses. Mrs. Cartwright believes idle hands breed trouble, so everyone's kept busy. You stretch your arms, feeling a pleasant pull in your muscles, and joke to yourself, at least you're not sewing your fingers raw anymore. That life's behind you, but the hook lingers. What's that thump? And why does it feel like the house is watching? You descend the stairs, and the coffee smells stronger now, mixed with frying bacon. Your stomach rumbles, reminding you how far you've come from those hungry days. The brothel's not perfect, but it's a roof, food, and a chance to breathe. You pause at the landing, ear cocked for another thump. But it's just the house settling, probably. You breathe deep, letting the warmth of the stairwell ease your tension, and step into the day, ready to play your part in this strange, secret world. Section 5. You step into the kitchen, where the warmth wraps around you like a blanket, chasing off the morning's chill. The scent of coffee, real coffee, not that chicory swill, mixes with fresh bread and sizzling bacon, making your mouth water. The large table, scarred from years of use, is set with simple plates, and Betsy's bustling about, her braids bouncing as she lays out cutlery. You grab a chair, the wood smooth under your hands, and settle in, feeling the house's rhythm pulse around you. The other girls trickle in, Emily, Sarah, Josephine, each carrying the weight of their own stories. Lily slides in last, hair half-pinned, grinning like she's cheated sleep itself. You pass her the porridge pot, and she whispers, "Worth it for 10 extra minutes in bed." But as you scoop your bowl, a faint cough from Josephine catches your ear. Rough, persistent. Is it just the London air, or something darker brewing? That hook snags your mind, a quiet warning in this cozy moment. You dig into the porridge, thick and creamy with a drizzle of treacle, a small luxury that sets this house apart. The coffee's strong, warming your fingers through the cup, and you cradle it, savoring the bitter kick. Breakfast is quiet, an unspoken rule against work talk this early. Instead, you chat about the butcher's boy who slipped in the alley, or whether the greengrocer's wife is pregnant again. It's normal, almost painfully so, like any household in London. You glance at Sarah, her sharp eyes scanning a newspaper she nicked from a client. She's nearly 30, a rarity here, and her knack for numbers keeps Mrs. Cartwright's books tidy. You wonder what keeps her here: habit, fear, or something else. The question lingers, unanswered. In the 1850s, coffee was a status symbol in working-class homes, often replaced by chicory or barley brews due to cost. Brothels like this, catering to a slightly better clientele, could afford the real stuff, a perk that kept girls loyal. Historians still argue whether these small comforts, decent food, a warm bed, were genuine care or just business savvy to maximize profits. A quirky tidbit: some brothels served medicinal teas laced with laudanum to calm nervous girls before busy nights. You eye your coffee, half joking to yourself. Hope Cook didn't spike this with anything stronger than sugar. Josephine's cough breaks your thought, and you notice her pale cheeks. You lean over, murmuring, "You all right?" She nods, but her eyes don't meet yours. The camaraderie here is real, forged in shared survival. Emily teases Lily about her seaside dream, and you smile, remembering your childhood trip to Brighton. Salty air, gulls screaming. "You'll get there," you tell Lily, though you both know saving's tough. Money slips through your fingers. New stockings, a toothache fix, a friend in need. You chuckle softly. Bet those fancy ladies in Mayfair don't haggle over a shilling like you do. The kitchen's a haven, the range's heat thawing your toes. Betsy refills the coffee pot, her cheer a bright spot in the grey morning. You wonder about her future. Will she end up like you, or escape this life? That cough from Josephine hooks you again, a reminder of the fragility beneath the laughter. Mrs. Winters sweeps in, her keys jangling, barking at Betsy to hurry with the dishes. Breakfast winding down, and the day's chores loom. You finish your porridge, the sweetness lingering, and stand, ready to tackle your tasks. The house feels alive. It sounds, clinking plates, creaking stairs, blending with the city's hum outside. You breathe deep, the coffee's warmth grounding you, and head for the parlor, Josephine's cough echoing in your mind. What's waiting in the day ahead, and will that shadow of sickness spread? Section 6. You finish breakfast, the last sip of coffee lingering on your tongue, and head to the parlor, feather duster in hand, ready to polish this brothel's veneer of respectability. The room is the heart of the public space, where clients first sip sherry and size up the girls, all under the guise of a proper visit. You start with the mantelpiece, its dark wood gleaming under your cloth, ornaments catching the dim morning light, a china shepherdess, a brass clock ticking steadily, and a pair of urns that look innocent enough. But as you dust one urn, your finger brushes something odd, a faint engraving hidden on the base, like a symbol or initial. What does it mean? A madam's secret mark? Or just old scratches? That hook pulls at you, a whisper of mystery in this otherwise mundane chore. You work methodically, feather duster whisking away London's perpetual grime, the air thick with the scent of beeswax polish, and faint coal smoke seeping through the windows. The parlour's decorated to fool the eye. Red velvet chairs, slightly worn but plush, heavy curtains tied back to let in hazy sunlight, paintings of serene landscapes with one subtle classical scene of nymphs that could pass for art in a gentleman's study. Nothing screams brothel, no red lamps or gaudy signs, just enough elegance to keep the police at bay, especially with those bribes flowing. You chuckle softly, imagining a copper bursting in and mistaking this for a tea party. Bet he'd blush harder than a debutante. In 1857, London's air was so polluted from coal fires that it created the infamous pea soup fog, killing thousands yearly and turning everything sooty. Brothels had to be cleaned constantly to maintain their allure, a small battle in the city's war against grime. Historians still argue whether these establishments reinforced class divides or subtly subverted them by mixing social strata in secret. A quirky tidbit? Some parlours hid peepholes in walls for madams to spy on clients, ensuring safety or just gathering blackmail fodder. You glance at the wallpaper, wondering if Mrs. Cartwright has one tucked away. The thoughts cut short by the clock's chime, marking time in this deceptive space. You move to the small bar, breathing on each glass before rubbing it with a soft cloth, the squeak satisfying as they gleam. The repetitive circles calm your mind, your breathing syncing with the motion, in as you start, out as you finish. Outside, London's bustle ramps up. A maid beating a rug next door, a cat slinking along a wall, a boy dashing with a message. It's strange how normal it all feels. The baker delivering bread here, just like to the boarding house beside. You smirk, bet that baker winks at the irony. The sounds filter in, children's laughter, a vendor calling knives to grind, blending with the house's hum. Cook kneading dough, Lily's footsteps upstairs making beds. Your mind wanders to that engraving on the urn. What if it's a clue to hidden valuables or a past girl's mark? The hook digs deeper, pulling you into speculation amid the dust motes dancing in the light. You finish the glasses, setting them neatly, and step back. The parlour transformed from dusty to inviting. It's meditative work. Hands busy while thoughts drift to your reading, a borrowed Dickens novel waiting upstairs. You joke to yourself, at least here, unlike sewing, your eyes aren't crossing from poor light. The mantel clock ticks on, a steady heartbeat as you breathe deep, the polisher's scent grounding you. What's next in this day's quiet build-up? And will that urn's secret reveal itself? Section 7. You wrap up the parlour dusting, setting the feather duster aside with a satisfied sigh as the morning light shifts across the floor. painting lazy patterns that almost make this place feel homey. But the peace shatters with the front door's creak, heavy footsteps echoing in the hall, and Mrs. Cartwright's voice, pitched low and welcoming. "Good morning, Doctor. Thank you for coming so promptly." Your stomach twists, a familiar knot, because it's Wednesday, examination day, when the house turns clinical and your body's no longer just yours. You glance at the door, heart picking up, wondering what the doc might find today. A sore throat, something worse. That hook digs in, a quiet dread. In this line of work, health's your only real armor, and it's paper thin. You slip into the kitchen, where Mrs. Winters is chopping vegetables, the knife's rhythm steady against the board. "Parlour's done," you tell her, and she nods, inspecting Betsy's work without a smile. "Doctor's here, seeing Josephine first, then Lily. You've time for laundry if you want." You nod, grabbing your basket from the cupboard, the wicker familiar in your hands. Personal washing's your chore, the intimate bits, stockings, undergarments, cloths for your monthly courses. You head to the scullery, pumping cold water into a basin, adding a kettle's hot stream to temper it. The steam rises, carrying a soapy scent that cuts through the earthy vegetable smell drifting in. You rub soap into the fabric, hands working methodically, the water turning cloudy with bubbles catching rainbows in the weak light. The physicality soothes you, muscles flexing as you scrub and rinse, but your mind wanders to the doctor's visit waiting. He's due any minute, and these checks are non-negotiable. Mrs. Cartwright's iron rule to keep disease at bay. You've seen what happens without them. Girls wasting away, sores that don't heal, coughs turning bloody. You wring out a chemise, the twist pulling pleasantly in your forearms, and hang it in the tiny yard, the cold air nipping your skin. The yard's a scrap of flagstones with pots of wilting plants, but the weak sun on your face is a rare joy. Your breathing deepening as you tilt your head up. Lily pokes her head out. "Doctor's almost done with me. You're next." You follow her inside, the kitchen's heat tingling your chilled fingers, and accept a mug of tea, blowing ripples across its surface. In the 1850s, venereal diseases ravaged London, with syphilis and gonorrhea rampant among sex workers, often untreated due to stigma and cost. Brothels that invested in regular medical checks, like this one, were outliers, aiming to protect both women and clients. Historians still argue whether these examinations empowered women with health knowledge or just commodified their bodies further for profit. A quirky tidbit: some doctors prescribed mercury treatments for syphilis, which caused more harm than good, leading to tooth loss and madness. You chuckle softly, imagining a client complaining about that side effect. Lily murmurs, "Josephine wasn't clear, resting a week with medicine." You nod, unsurprised, her cough flashing in your mind. The bell rings, your turn. You set down the tea, smoothing your dress, and walk to Mrs. Cartwright's sitting room, now a makeshift clinic. The desks cleared, tools laid out, stethoscope, bottles, notebook. Dr. Harrison, graying and bespectacled, washes his hands, his manner professional, not cruel like some quacks you've heard of. "How have you been, Mary? Any concerns?" You shake your head, appreciating the courtesy, rare in a world that sees you as disposable. He checks breathing, heart, throat. Then the intimate part, quick and detached, gloved hands impersonal. You detach too, thinking of that Dickens book upstairs, the jam tart you might buy later. All in order, he says, noting it down. Mrs. Cartwright escorts you out, murmuring, "Send Sarah next." Relief floods you, but a hollow feeling lingers, your body reduced to checks and balances. You reclaim your tea in the kitchen, the mug grounding you, and reach for a currant bun, its sweetness bursting on your tongue. The clock strikes noon, the morning slipping away. You wonder about Josephine's results. That cough, a nagging hook. Will she bounce back? Or is it the start of something that pulls her under? You breathe deep, the tea's warmth spreading, and rise, ready for the afternoon's quiet before the evening storm. The house hums on, its secrets and risks woven into every creak. But for now, you're clear, stepping forward with a steady heart. Section 8. You leave the sitting room after the doctor's nod of approval, the hollow feeling lingering like a faint echo. But the kitchen's warmth pulls you back to the present, where Sarah's already waiting for her turn. You deliver Mrs. Cartwright's message, then reclaim your cooling tea, the mug's solid weight anchoring you as you bite into that currant bun, its plump sweetness bursting against the dough. The clock's noon chime vibrates through the house, signaling the shift to afternoon, a quieter stretch before evening's bustle. You finish quickly, brushing crumbs from your dress, and decide there's time for errands, a chance to slip into London streets and taste anonymity. But as you grab your shawl, a faint whisper from the hallway, like muffled voices behind a door, catches your ear. Is it just the wind? Or someone plotting in secret? That hook tugs, a sliver of intrigue in the ordinary day, urging you to listen closer. You wrap the shawl around your shoulders, its wool scratchy but comforting, and tuck your small purse into your pocket, the leather holding tips and your weekly allowance, enough for necessities and a treat. Mrs. Cartwright allows these outings, believing fresh air keeps you sharp, as long as you're back before the rush. You step out the front door, the key turning with a click, and merge into the crowd, just another woman in a plain dress amid the smoky haze. The streets teem with life, delivery carts rumbling over cobblestones, servants darting on errands, vendors hawking wares with melodic cries. The air's thick with coal smoke and horse manure, but it's freeing, this blend into the masses. No eyes judging your profession. You chuckle softly, but those society ladies in their carriages don't know the thrill of walking unnoticed, like a ghost in the fog. Your first stop's the haberdashery, a cozy shop squeezed between a greengrocer spilling cabbages and a bookbinder's window stacked with leather tomes. The bell jingles as you enter, and the proprietress peers over her spectacles. Hairpins, please, black, medium size. She fetches a box, wrapping a dozen in paper for 6p, and you count out the coins carefully, habits from leaner days dying hard. The pins are sturdy, she assures, won't bend like the cheap ones. You nod thanks and slip out, the packet crinkling in your pocket. The street's busier now, a group of children chasing a hoop, their laughter cutting through the din. You wonder about Betsy back at the house, her youth a fragile thing in this city that chews up the innocent. What future waits for her? And will that whispered voice you heard hint at trouble brewing? Next, the stationer's 3 streets over, where the elderly owner chatters about the weather as you buy writing paper, envelopes, and a pencil. For letters to a sweetheart, he teases, and you smile non-committally, playing the respectable role. The purchases tucked away, you indulge at the baker's, a warm jam tart in hand, its strawberry filling tangy and sweet as you nibble while walking. The pastry flakes on your fingers, a simple joy in the afternoon's haze. London's pulse surrounds you, a dog barking at a cart, a maid haggling over apples, the distant chime of a church bell. It's odd, this freedom, unmarked by your work, but a nagging thought hooks you. What if someone recognizes you? A client in daylight. You shake it off, breathing the smoky air deep, letting the tart's warmth ground you. In 1857, London's streets were a melting pot, with over 80,000 street sellers hawking everything from pies to pins, fueling the city's chaotic economy. Brothel workers often blended into this crowd during errands, maintaining discretion in a society obsessed with appearances. Historians still argue whether these outings offered true escape or just reinforced the isolation of their hidden lives. A quirky tidbit: some women carried disguise kits like veils or bonnets to avoid recognition, turning errands into a game of shadows. You smirk, imagining yourself in a dramatic veil like a spy in a penny dreadful. The tart's gone now, a spot of jam licked from your finger, and you meander back, muscles loosening with the walk, the exercise a balm after the morning stillness. The shadows lengthen as you near the house, the air turning golden with approaching sunset, and that whispered voice from earlier lingers in your mind, a puzzle unsolved. You unlock the door, stepping into the familiar warmth, the brothel's energy shifting toward evening. Mrs. Winters intercepts you. Busy night ahead, dinner at 5:30. You nod, errands done, but the hook remains, pulling you deeper into the day's unfolding secrets. The street's anonymity fades, but their taste lingers, a brief breath of the world beyond these walls. You hang your shawl, breathing steadily, ready for what's next in this quiet afternoon's fade to dusk. Section 9. You climb the stairs after Mrs. Winter's warning about the busy night, the house buzzing with a subtle shift, like it's holding its breath before the evening storm. Doors stand ajar along the hallway, girls darting between rooms, borrowing pins or rouge, the air filled with chatter and the rustle of fabric. You find Lily in your room, half in her green silk dress, fumbling with the back buttons. "Help a girl out?" she asks, and you step in, fingers deft on the tiny closures, the silk smooth under your touch. She spins to the mirror, patting her auburn curls, and you nod approval, but a faint rustle from the wardrobe catches your ear, like something shifting inside. A mouse, or perhaps a hidden note from a client. That hook snags, a whisper of secrecy in the preparations, pulling you to wonder what's lurking in the shadows of this transformation. You begin your routine, starting with a thorough wash at the basin, the water cold but invigorating as it splashes over your skin, raising goosebumps that tingle pleasantly. The day's grime rinses away, leaving you refreshed, ready to layer on the evening self. From the chest, you pull your deep blue silk dress, slightly faded but elegant, its color a match for your dark hair. You slip into fresh undergarments, the fine cotton a whisper against your legs, then the corset, tightening just enough for shape without stealing your breath. The petticoats add volume, and finally, the dress settles over you, cool and luxurious, changing your posture to something more poised, more alluring. You breathe deep, feeling the fabric shift with each inhale, grounding you in this shift from day to night. The mirror reflects the change, your face softer in the lamplight, but you add subtle touches. Rice powder to even your complexion. A dab of rouge blended seamlessly for a natural flush. No heavy paint here, Mrs. Cartwright's rule for a refined look that fools clients into thinking this is spontaneous charm, not calculated craft. You twist your hair into an elaborate knot, adding pins and a false curl for volume, the new hairpins from your errand holding firm. A light spritz of lavender water at your wrists and throat, its clean scent rising with your warmth, masking any trace of the afternoon's labors. You step back, assessing. Not a lady, but a woman worth noticing. The illusion complete. You chuckle softly. Bet those high society dames spend hours with maids for less effect, while you do it solo in minutes. Lily leaves with a wink, and you linger a moment. The room's quiet, a brief sanctuary before the communal rush. But that rustle from the wardrobe nags, and you peek inside, finding nothing but clothes and a stray moth fluttering out. Odd, but you shrug it off, focusing on the evening ahead. The house's energy builds, footsteps quickening, voices calling advice. More rouge on the lips. It's both solo and shared, this preparation. A ritual that bonds you all in the face of what's coming. In the 1850s, women's fashion emphasized the hourglass silhouette, with corsets cinching waists to extremes, often causing health issues like fainting or organ displacement. Brothel workers adapted this for allure, balancing seduction with practicality to endure long nights. Historians still argue whether such cosmetics and attire empowered these women as performers or trapped them in male fantasies of femininity. A quirky tidbit? Some girls used beetroot juice for rouge or burnt matches for eyeliner, homemade hacks when funds ran low, turning necessity into ingenuity. You smirk, imagining a client swooning over natural beauty that's vegetable dye. The clock chimes 5, pulling you downstairs, the silk whispering with each step, a gentle reminder of the role you're stepping into. Dinner's in the dining room, a step up from the kitchen, the table set with linen and cutlery under Mrs. Cartwright's watchful eye. She's at the head in her purple silk, maintaining distance but joining to reinforce standards. The stew's hearty, beef and vegetables steaming, with fresh bread and rice pudding for after. Wine poured sparingly to warm without dulling wits. Conversation flows, expected clients, like Mr. Harrington for Emily, or a group from a club dinner. You sit between Sarah and Emily, passing the bread, and catch Josephine's absence, her rest a shadow over the meal. Mrs. Cartwright's speech wraps it up. Quality over quantity, ladies. You wonder about that rustle again. A hidden letter, perhaps, but push it aside. The wine's fruity warmth easing your thoughts. The meal ends, girls dispersing for final touches, and you linger a second, savoring the last sip, body relaxed in the chair's embrace. The evening stretches ahead, clients unknown, but that wardrobe mystery hooks you, a thread of curiosity in the fabric of the night. You rise, silk settling around you, breathing steadily as you head to the parlor, the house's pulse matching your own, ready for the dance to begin. Section 10. You enter the parlor, the gas lamps now lit to a soft glow that flatters every curve and hides the day's wear, as Sarah's already there, arranging herself on a sofa with that burgundy dress hugging her like an old secret. The fire crackles gently, sending warmth across the room. and you settle into an armchair, the velvet smooth under your palms, a cushioned embrace after the stairs climb. The decanter of sherry gleams on the table, alongside sugared almonds and biscuits that tempt with their crumbly promise. Sarah glances up, her pearl pins catching the light. You look well, the blue suits you. You nod thanks, but that faint rustle from the wardrobe upstairs nags at you still, a loose thread in your mind. Was it just the moth, or something slipped in by a client, a note or trinket meant for later discovery? The hook pulls tighter, a subtle intrigue amid the evening's build-up, making you scan the room's shadows for clues. The other girls filter in. Emily in pale green silk that sets off her dark curls, Lily's emerald glowing like a jewel. Even Josephine joining despite her rest orders, her presence building future business. You pour tea from the tray Mrs. Winters brings, the china cups delicate in your hands, the steam carrying a fragrant bitterness that revives without jolting. The conversation meanders. A new shop's fabrics, cook's cough, whether the cold delivery will brave tomorrow's fog. It's light, undemanding, a buffer before the clients arrive. You sip slowly, the tea's heat spreading through your chest, easing any lingering tension from the doctor's poke. Josephine sits quietly, her eyes distant, and you wonder if her medicine's kicking in, or if that cough's hiding a deeper ache. The clock strikes 8, and a knock echoes. Mrs. Cartwright sweeping in to summon Emily for Mr. Harrington. The parlour empties briefly as pairings begin, but you linger with Lily, straightening cushions between sips. She leans close. Heard there's a wealthy newcomer tonight, a banker type. Mrs. Cartwright's got the best sherry out. You nod, the info practical, sharpening your approach for whatever walks through that door. The house's rhythm accelerates, doors opening and closing, voices murmuring in the hall. You breathe deep, the fire's warmth on your skin a gentle caress, grounding you in this interlude. A joke slips out. Bet that banker's got more coins than sense. Probably collects stamps like Mr. Phillips. Lily chuckles, the sound light in the mellow light. Dinner's aroma drifts in, stew and bread calling you to the dining room, where the table's set with care, linen crisp under the lamps. Mrs. Cartwright presides at the head, her purple silk impeccable as you all take seats, the chair's wood supporting you comfortably. The stew arrives steaming, beef tender with carrots and onions, the broth rich and savory, paired with warm bread that tears softly in your hands. You spoon it up, the flavors grounding after the afternoon's errands, and pour a glass of wine, its fruity tang warming without clouding your head. Conversation turns strategic. Emily mentions Mr. Harrington's request. Sarah notes Mr. Lawrence's punctuality. You share about the possible group from the club, speculation buzzing like the fire's pop. Josephine's absence hits again, her rest a reminder of fragility, and you wonder if that rustle was her slipping something away, a hidden plea or plan. The rice pudding follows, raisins plump in the creamy sweetness, a simple end that satisfies without weighing you down. Mrs. Cartwright speaks up. We've bookings tonight, gentlemen from a dinner, so conduct with decorum. Quality earns loyalty. Her words hang, a mix of encouragement and command, as plates clear. You linger over your wine, the glass cool in your fingers, body relaxed in the chair's embrace, the meal's warmth settling deep. The camaraderie here, amid the strategy, feels real, a shared armor against the night. In the 1850s, communal meals in brothels were key to maintaining order, with madams like Mrs. Cartwright using them to enforce rules and boost morale in a high-turnover trade. Historians still argue whether such routines fostered genuine sisterhood or just controlled labor in a patriarchal system. A quirky tidbit: some houses served aphrodisiac dishes laced with oysters or chocolate, believing they primed girls for work, though science later debunked most claims. You smirk inwardly, bet that pudding's magic is just good cooking, not some love potion. The clock ticks toward the rush, that wardrobe rustle fading but not forgotten, a puzzle in the evening's weave. You rise with the others, silk whispering, breathing steady as you disperse for final checks, the house's pulse quickening, ready for the client's arrival and whatever surprises they bring. Chin 11. You settle back into the parlor's armchair after Mrs. Cartwright's summons pulls Emily away, the velvet cradling you as the fire's gentle pop fills the quiet. But the clock's chime barely fades before another knock echoes through the hall. Mrs. Cartwright appears again, her gaze landing on you. "Mary, a gentleman has asked for your company." You rise smoothly, silk whispering against the chair, heart steady but alert, wondering who this one is, a regular with his quirks, or a stranger with unknown edges. That hook tugs, a spark of anticipation. In this game, each door knock could bring a story, a risk, or just another face blending into the night's blur. But what if this one's different, hiding something behind his polite mask? You follow her to the hallway, where a middle-aged man stands, his dark coat well cut but showing wear, posture straight yet slightly awkward, like he's stepping into a role he's not fully rehearsed. Mrs. Cartwright introduces smoothly, "Mary, this is Mr. Wilson." You curtsy lightly, offering your hand with a warm smile, your voice softening to that professional lilt. "How do you do, sir?" He bows, his grip firm but brief, eyes meeting yours with polite interest. No leer, just a hint of nerves. A new one, then, and you note the details. Graying temples, weathered skin from outdoor work, a merchant perhaps, seeking escape from a lonely routine. The office exchange happens discreetly, money and terms settled, and she leaves you with a nod. The blue room is available. You gesture to the parlor first. "Would you care for sherry, Mr. Wilson, or brandy?" He accepts sherry, perched on the armchair's edge as you pour, your fingers brushing his in that calculated touch, a small intimacy to ease the air. The amber liquid gleams in the firelight, its sweet scent rising as he sips, shoulders relaxing slightly. "Is this your first visit?" you ask gently, settling opposite, skirts arranged just so, close enough for connection, but not crowding. He admits it with a wry smile. "Obvious, is it?" You shake your head, smiling. "Not at all. I simply know our regulars." The conversation flows lightly. Weather, his tea importing business, a vague complaint about traffic clogging the docks. You listen attentively, nodding at the right moments, your posture open, drawing him out without pushing. He's a widower, you sense, words skirting a lost warmth at home, and you adjust, offering sympathy wrapped in charm, a hand lightly on his arm. The sherry empties, and you sense the shift. "Shall we continue upstairs, where it's more private?" He nods, standing, and you lead the way, his footsteps steady behind you on the stairs. The blue room welcomes with its large bed, fresh linens crisp, a small fire warding off the chill, washstand ready with scented soap. You close the door softly, the latch clicking like a promise sealed, and turn to him with a gentle smile. Make yourself comfortable. The transition's smooth, conversation giving way to touch, your hands guiding, professional yet seeming eager, balancing his needs with your boundaries. The act itself is brief, his whine from earlier quickening things, but he lingers after, head on your shoulder, your fingers stroking his hair in that illusion of care. He murmurs thanks, pressing a tip into your hand, and dresses with dignity, no rush. You show him out, Mrs. Winters, appearing to escort him discreetly, ensuring no awkward encounters. Alone, you tidy, strip the sheets, bundle them for laundry, wash thoroughly at the basin, the water cool and cleansing, separating this from the next. Fresh linens snap as you remake the bed, pillows plumped, room restored to inviting order. You check the mirror, smoothing a wrinkle in your dress, repinning a loose curl, the reflection unchanged, but for a subtle flush. But as you straighten the towel, a faint glint under the bed catches your eye. A dropped coin, or something more. The hook pulls, curiosity flaring. Did he leave it on purpose, a token or message, or just careless? You pocket it for now, a small coin, nothing special, and breathe deep, the room's quiet wrapping around you, fire's warmth easing your muscles. The hallway clock strikes, time passing in its steady tick, and you allow a moment of stillness, body loose, mind drifting to the night's unfolding. In the 1850s, businessmen like merchants formed London's growing middle class, often seeking brothels for companionship amid rigid social norms that frowned on extramarital affairs yet tolerated them discreetly. Historians still argue whether these visits reinforced male dominance or provided women with economic leverage in an unequal society. A quirky tidbit: some clients left gifts like coins or jewelry as tips, but occasionally hidden notes requesting secret meetings, turning transactions into risky romances. You chuckle inwardly, bet that glint's just a penny, not a love letter from a tea trader. The parlor calls below, voices rising, and you descend, silk swishing, ready for the next. That dropped item a puzzle in your pocket. Lily's in the kitchen when you arrive, sharing tea and gossip. How was the new one? Look decent. You nod, pouring a cup. Polite, a widower, I think. Better than Mr. Peterson's snuff-box tales. She grimaces, recounting her mechanical encounter, and you laugh lightly, the camaraderie a balm. The tea's warm, seed cake dense and caraway spiced, a simple pleasure amid the night's demands. You break off a piece, savoring the crunch, body relaxing in the chair's sturdy hold. The kitchen's heart beats strong, cook's dough rising yeasty, Mrs. Winters darning in the corner. But that glint nags, a hook in your thoughts. What if it's not just a coin, but a clue to something bigger, a client's secret slipping through? You push it aside, breathing even, the evening's rhythm carrying you forward. One sip, one laugh at a time. Gin 12. You descend the stairs after the encounter with Mr. Wilson, the blue room's door clicking shut behind you like a chapter closed. But the house's evening hum pulls you forward, voices murmuring from below, a laugh punctuating the air. The hallway clock ticks steadily, marking the night's progression, and you smooth your dress one last time, the silk settling with a whisper, that echoes your steady breath. But that glint from under the bed nags at you still. The small coin in your pocket, a weighty mystery. Was it deliberate, a token from him, or just a careless drop hiding something more, like a coded message or a lost keepsake from another girl? The hook digs deeper, a thread of enigma weaving through the routine, urging you to examine it closer when the night's chaos eases. You bundle the used linens down the back stairs to the scullery, adding them to the laundry pile for tomorrow's wash, the fabric's faint scent of sherry and skin lingering briefly before you shake it off. The kitchen welcomes you with its yeasty warmth, Lily and Emily at the table sharing a pot of tea, their evening dresses slightly rumpled, but spirits high. "Wilson, the new one?" Lily asks, pushing a cup your way, her emerald silk catching the lamplight. You nod, pouring the steaming brew. "Decent, a tea merchant widower. Talked more than anything." They lean in, the exchange flowing easily. Emily griping about Mr. Peterson's lozenge breath and snuff tails. You all chuckling at the absurdity. The camaraderie, a shield against the isolation of the work. The tea's strong, its bitterness cut by sugar, warming your fingers through the mug as you cradle it, the steam rising in fragrant curls that blur the room's edges. You reach for the seed cake, breaking off a piece, the caraway seeds popping with aromatic spice against the dense crumb. It's grounding, this moment of shared respite. The kitchen's heart beating with cook's dough rising on the sideboard. Mrs. Winter's needle flashing in the corner as she darns. Sarah joins briefly, her burgundy dress pristine, updating on the accounts. Quiet so far, but that group might change it. You nod, the conversation drifting to small comforts, a new ribbon for hair, a borrowed book from a client's shop. But that coin in your pocket presses, a puzzle unsolved. What if it's engraved, a clue to a past visitor's story, or something Josephine hid during her rest? You resist pulling it out now, saving the reveal for later solitude. The repetitive nibble of cake and sip of tea soothes, your body sinking into the chair's worn wood, muscles loosening after the afternoon's exertions. Lily teases Emily about her mechanical client, and you laugh softly. At least he doesn't collect stamps and drone on like Phillips. Bet he'd frame you if he could. The jest lightens the air, a reminder that humor's your secret weapon in this life, turning the absurd into bearable. The kitchen's scents mingle, bread, tea, faint soap from the scullery, creating a haven amid the parlor's performance. You breathe deep, the warmth spreading through your chest, easing the subtle ache from corset and clients. The house's rhythm a gentle pulse around you. Time slips, the clock striking as you finish your tea, brushing crumbs away with a satisfied sigh. The evening's not over, but this interlude recharges, the solidarity real in its quiet understanding. No judgments, just acceptance of the shared path. You stand, cup rinsed at the sink, and head back to the parlor for the next wait, but pause at the door, that coin shifting in your pocket. A glance when alone, perhaps, to unravel its secret before the group arrives and drowns all thought in their demands. In the 1850s, brothel kitchens were often the unsung hubs of daily life, where girls found brief normalcy amid the trade's demands, sharing meals that sustained body and spirit in a society that offered few alternatives. Historians still argue whether this camaraderie built lasting bonds or was fractured by competition for clients and tips. A quirky tidbit? Some houses kept gossip ledgers, hidden journals where girls noted client quirks for shared advantage, turning whispers into collective power. You smirk inwardly. Bet Sarah's accounts hide a few such notes, not just numbers. The parlor cools, its fire crackling faintly, and you rejoin the wait, silk swishing with each step, the coin's mystery a hook pulling you through the night's unfolding tapestry. The group hasn't arrived yet, the parlor quiet with just Sarah rearranging glasses, her practical manner a steady anchor. You settle beside her, the velvet sofa plush under you, and share the coin's tale softly. Found this under the bed. Think it's a tip, or something more. She examines it briefly, shrugging. Just a shilling, probably careless, but keep it, small wins add up. The conversation turns to errands, your jam tart earning envious sighs, and the new shop's fabric sparking plans for a mended dress. It's mundane, comforting. The fire's warmth on your skin a gentle reminder of the house's small luxuries. Mrs. Winters bustles in with fresh almonds, her keys jangling like a warden's. But her nod's fair, no scorn in her eyes. You nibble an almond, its sweetness crunching, as Lily joins, her auburn curls still holding their style. Quiet afternoon for me, she says, pouring tea. Ran to the apothecary for Josephine's medicine. Poor thing's cough sounds worse. You nod, concern flickering, that rustle from earlier blending with this news. What if she hid something in the wardrobe, a remedy or letter, during her rest? The hook tugs, a layer of worry beneath the chatter. Emily returns from her client, dressed slightly askew, and vents lightly. Harrington again. All talk about his collection. At least he's quick. You all laugh, the solidarity weaving tighter, a net against the night's wear. The clock advances, the parlor filling with the scent of sherry and wood smoke, your body relaxed but alert, breathing even as you lean back, the sofa's cushions supporting you comfortably. These between moments are precious, pockets of self amid the performance, where you recharge with tea and tales. But the front door's distant creak hints at more arrivals, the group's shadow looming, and that coin's glint in your mind a puzzle waiting. You stretch subtly, muscles pulling pleasantly, ready for whatever walks in next. The evening's dance continuing its intricate steps. Section 13. You return to the parlor after the kitchen's brief respite, the seed cake spice still lingering on your tongue, as Sarah straightens the sherry glasses with her usual precision. The fire's glow casting long shadows that dance across the red velvet. The room's warmth envelops you, a gentle contrast to the cooling night outside, and you settle into an armchair, the upholstery yielding softly under your weight, your silk dress pooling around you like a quiet promise. Lily joins soon after, her emerald fabric whispering as she arranges cushions, and you exchange a nod, the air thick with anticipation for the rumoured group. But the front door knocks again, Mrs. Cartwright's voice welcoming someone new, and she appears in the doorway, her gaze finding you. Mary, this gentleman came highly recommended. Your pulse quickens subtly, wondering if this is the banker Lily mentioned, his wealth a potential regular. But what secrets might a man like that carry, hidden behind his polished facade? The hook pulls, a thrill of the unknown. In this life, newcomers can bring fortune or folly, and blurring those lines might reveal more than you bargain for. You rise gracefully, following her to the hall where a tall man in his late 30s stands, his expensive tailoring understated, exuding the quiet confidence of old money, grey eyes sharp under dark hair. Mrs. Cartwright introduces, "Mary, meet Mr. Hamilton." You curtsy lightly, hand extended with a warm smile, your voice that refined lilt. "A pleasure, Mr. Hamilton." He takes it briefly, his touch firm yet measured, assessing you with appreciation but no crudeness, like appraising a fine painting. The office exchange is swift, terms settled discreetly, and she leaves with, "You'll find much in common to discuss." The emphasis on discuss hints at his preferences, conversation as much as company, a rarity that piques your interest. You pour sherry in the parlor, fingers brushing his again, the amber liquid's sweet aroma rising as he sips, leaning back with an easing posture. The talk starts light, the cold snap, a recent concert at the Albert Hall he attended, his vague mentions of banking dealings amid London's booming trade. You listen intently, responses calibrated to show insight without overstepping, nodding at his traffic woes, sharing a mild observation on the Crystal Palace exhibition's crowds. He's educated, accent polished, not aristocratic but upper crust, and you adjust, mirroring his tone, drawing him out with questions that make him feel seen. "Banking must be fascinating," you venture, balancing risks and rewards in such uncertain times. He smiles, surprised. "Quite perceptive, Mary. Most don't see beyond the ledgers." The conversation deepens, his loneliness peeking through. A wife perhaps distant or gone, his words skirting personal voids. You offer subtle sympathy, a hand on his arm, the illusion of connection building naturally, your posture open, breathing synced to his pauses. He finishes his sherry, and you suggest upstairs, the blue room's door closing softly behind you, the fire's crackle intimate in the space. The bed's linens are crisp, flowers scenting the air faintly, and he looks around approvingly. "Charming." You guide the transition, touch leading from talk to intimacy, professional skill making it seem mutual. His responses considerate, mindful even in purchase. But after, he lingers, arm across your waist, and the real surprise unfolds. "You're very good at this, Mary." You thank him simply, but he presses, "How did you come here? You seem different." The question's genuine, not prurient, and you share a truth-tinted version. Seamstress days, hunger's grind, this life's harsh math. He listens thoughtfully. A rational choice, then, in an irrational world. The discussion turns philosophical, economic, and moral. Gender's binds in society's hypocrisy, your intelligence shining through more than usual, blurring the line between role and real. He's engaged, propping on an elbow. Paradoxical, isn't it? A market transaction condemned on moral grounds. You nod, responding with insights from overheard client talks and your sharp observations. The exchange refreshing, a mind meeting yours without demand. Time slips, the hallway clock chiming the hour, and he sighs. "I've talked more than intended, but no regrets." You agree sincerely. "Nor I. It's been pleasant." He dresses methodically, leaving a generous tip on the table, respectful. For the conversation too. With a bow, he's gone. Mrs. Winters escorting him out. And you tidy, washing at the basin, the water cleansing, linens changed with efficient snaps, room restored. But as you smooth the pillow, a faint scent lingers on it. His cologne, Or something unique, like tobacco and ink? Is it just residue or a deliberate mark, tying back to that coin from earlier, perhaps part of a larger pattern? The hook digs, curiosity flaring. What if he's not just a banker, but someone with hidden motives, testing boundaries for more than one night? You pause in the quiet, breathing deep. The fire's warmth on your skin a soothing balm, body loose after the gentle encounter. The discussion replays, unusual in its depth, treating you as a thinker, not just a body, a rare gift. But you remind yourself, it's still transactional, no matter the words. The clock ticks on, the house's sounds filtering in. Voices, footsteps, the evening marching forward. In the 1850s, bankers fueled London's imperial growth, handling vast fortunes from trade and colonies, often seeking brothels for intellectual as well as physical escape amid strict Victorian mores. Historians still argue whether such conversations empowered women like you with agency or reinforced power imbalances through feigned equality. A quirky tidbit: some bankers left investment tips as coded stock advice instead of coins, turning encounters into covert financial consultations. You chuckle softly. Bet Mr. Hamilton's rational choice chat hides no market secrets, just a lonely man's need for talk. The parlor awaits below, its rhythm calling, and you descend, silk swishing, that lingering scent a puzzle in your mind, blending with the coin's mystery. Back in the parlor, Lily's alone, rearranging glasses. How was the banker? Gold watch chain screamed wealth. You settle beside her, the sofa plush. Talkative, intelligent, might return. She nods, understanding the subtext, and you share the philosophical turn, her eyes widening. Blurring lines there, Mary. Careful. The warning's light but real. The camaraderie a steady anchor. You breathe even, the fire's crackle syncing with your pulse. Body relaxed, yet alert for the next knock. The group's shadow looms, but these moments between sustain, whispers, and warmth weave the night's fabric. That scent fades slowly, but the hook remains, pulling you deeper into the evening's unfolding enigmas. One client, one secret at a time. Section 14. You linger in the parlor after Mr. Hamilton's departure, the philosophical echoes of your talk still humming in your mind like a half-forgotten melody, as Lily straightens the sherry glasses with a soft clink, her emerald silk catching the fire's flicker. The room's warmth wraps around you, the velvet armchair yielding as you sink back, your silk dress pooling comfortably, the corset's gentle hold a familiar anchor. Sarah joins briefly, her burgundy fabric rustling as she murmurs about the accounts looking solid so far. But the front door's sudden series of knocks shatters the quiet. Multiple raps, voices overlapping in boisterous cheer. Mrs. Cartwright's tone cuts through, welcoming what sounds like a crowd. And Mrs. Winters appears in the doorway, her expression tighter than usual. They're here, 6 gentlemen from the club dinner. Everyone to the parlor now. Your pulse quickens, stamina tested anew. But what revelry or chaos might this tipsy group bring? Their laughter hiding demands that could push the night's boundaries. The hook tugs sharply, a surge of curiosity. In a house like this, groups mean good coin but unpredictable edges, and one wrong word could unravel the careful decorum. You rise with the others, silk whispering in unison as Emily and Josephine join from upstairs, the parlor filling with a charged energy, the air thickening with lavender scents, and the faint anticipation of cologne soon to mingle. Cartwright orchestrates from the doorway, her purple dress impeccable amid the influx. 6 men tumbling in, evening attire loosened, cravats askew, waistcoats spotted with wine, ages spanning 30s to 60s, their faces flushed from drink and dinner. Laughter booms, one slapping another's back. Told you this place was top-notch. You scan them, professional habit. The loud one with the moustache likely leads. The quieter, bespectacled fellow hangs back, all carrying that clubby entitlement, pockets heavy with payday guineas. Mrs. Cartwright smiles smoothly. Gentlemen, may I present our ladies? Emily, Lily, Sarah, Mary, and Josephine for company. The sorting begins, a delicate dance of preferences. Blondes for one, petite for another. Your madam matching with practiced grace, ensuring no one's left wanting. You're paired with a younger one, Edward, around 32. Dark hair receding, moustache neat, but his eyes glassy from wine. Enunciation careful, like he's corralling his sobriety. Delighted, he slurs slightly, bowing over your hand, his breath carrying brandy. The blues most becoming. You smile, curtsy lightly. Thank you, sir. Sherry to start? The parlor fills with pause and chatter, the men perched on chairs and sofas, their volume rising, anecdotes from the George Inn's dinner spilling out. Roast beef, port, debates on the latest parliamentary folly. You circulate briefly, a touch here, a laugh there, the illusion of a lively soiree. But Edward's gaze locks on you, his hand grazing your arm. The group's energy crackles, one joking loudly about a rival's bad bed, and you wonder if their tipsiness hides sharper intents. Perhaps requests that test the house's rules. A chuckle escapes you inwardly. Bet these gentlemen preach temperance at home while guzzling here like fish. The parlor's air grows heady, sherry flowing. The fires crackle underscoring their boisterous tales. Your breathing steady amid the swirl. Corset, a subtle reminder to pace yourself. Edward pulls you aside to a sofa, his talk bold, but not crude. You're a vision, Mary, far from the drabs on the streets. You respond with charm, leaning in just enough, guiding the flirtation toward the stairs. The other pairs form, Lily with the loud moustache man, Emily charming the bespectacled one. And soon you're leading Edward up, his footsteps heavy but eager, the blue room's door closing with a soft thud. The transaction unfolds predictably, his wine-quickened pace mechanical, demands conventional. But he dozes after, snoring lightly beside you in the rumpled sheets. You lie still, breathing deep, the rain pattering outside a distant lull. Body aware of the exertion, but not strained, mind drifting to the group's others. Will they all be this straightforward? Or does one harbor a twist, like that glint or scent from before, connecting to unseen threads? He stirs with a start, apologetic. Must have nodded off. Forgive me. You assure him gently. Not at all. You seemed peaceful. He dresses hastily, but tips generously, murmuring thanks for the fine company, and you escort him down, Mrs. Winters materializing to see him out. The tidying ritual follows. Linen stripped, basin washed thoroughly, the cool water refreshing against your skin, new sheets snapping into place, room reset for the next. But as you plump a pillow, A stray cufflink rolls out from under the bed, gold, engraved with initials, Edwards, or from a prior visitor, linking back to that coin and scent, perhaps a pattern of forgetful wealthy men, or deliberate drops signaling something covert. The hook sinks deeper, curiosity blooming. What if these accidents are breadcrumbs, leading to a larger game played in the shadows of these walls? You pause, breathing even, the fire's warmth fading as you center yourself, body loose in the quiet, the house's bustle filtering through. Laughter downstairs, doors creaking. The clock chimes 11, a lull settling, the early clients gone, later ones pending. In the 1850s, gentlemen's clubs like the Reform or Athenaeum were hubs for London's elite, where dinners often spilled into brothel visits, blending social networking with vice. In an era of rigid class structures, historians still argue whether these group outings empowered madams through bulk business or exposed women to greater risks from inebriated, entitled men. A quirky tidbit: some clubs had referral systems with brothels, earning commissions for directing members, turning vice into a networked enterprise like modern affiliate marketing. You smirk softly. Bet Edwards Club has a ledger for that, not just bets. The parlor awaits, its rhythm calling you back, and you descend, silk swishing, that cufflink tucked away with the coin, mysteries accumulating like the night's tips. The parlor's lively still, the remaining men nursing drinks, but the groups dispersed into pairs, the house alive with upstairs murmurs. You rejoin Lily and Emily for a quick tea in the kitchen. The ranger's heat a welcome hug, plates of bread and cheese waiting. That moustache one was handsy. Lily gripes, pouring tea, her cup steaming. You nod, sharing Edward's doze. Quick, at least snored like a bear in hibernation. They laugh, the sound light, camaraderie a buffer as you nibble cheese, its sharpness cutting the sweetness of lingering sherry. The tea warms your core, body relaxing in the chair's hold. But Josephine's cough echoes from upstairs, a reminder of vulnerability amid the bustle. Mrs. Winters bustles in. More might come, storm or no. You wonder about the cufflink's owner, if he's part of this group, leaving marks like a trail. The hook pulls, but you push it aside, breathing steadily, the kitchen's sense of bread, cheese and tea grounding you for the night's final push. The lull deepens, rain drumming harder outside, thunder rumbling distant, the house's creaks blending with the storm's sigh. You stretch subtly, muscles pulling pleasantly, ready for whatever lingers in the bustling night. That cufflink's enigma, a spark in the fading embers. Section 15. You wrap up the encounter with Edward, the blue room's door closing softly behind him as Mrs. Winters escorts him down, her keys jangling faintly in the hall like a distant bell tolling the night's toll. The house settles into a brief hush, the group's energy dispersed into satisfied departures and upstairs murmurs, rain now hammering the windows in earnest, thunder grumbling like a discontented giant. You tidy methodically, linens bundled, basin washed thoroughly, the cool water a balm on your skin, easing the subtle stickiness of the evening's exertions. Fresh sheets snap into place, the bed remade crisp. But as you fluff the last pillow, that cufflink from earlier joins the coin and scent in your mind's puzzle box, a trio of oddities that whisper of connections unseen. Are they random leavings or deliberate signs from clients weaving a web? perhaps a network of secrets spanning houses like this. The hook sinks finally, a lingering intrigue. What if unraveling them reveals a hidden side to this life, a game played beneath the surface of silk and sherry? You allow a moment in the quiet room, standing still, breathing deep as the fire's embers glow faintly, warmth fading into the chill seeping from the storm outside. Your body feels the accumulated weight, morning's chores, afternoon's walk, evening's performances, a profound fatigue that's satisfying in its completeness, muscles heavy but not aching, mind weary yet clear. The rain's patter intensifies, a rhythmic percussion against the panes, wind gusting to rattle them like impatient fingers. You shake off the puzzle for now, no energy left for sleuthing, and descend the stairs, silk swishing softly, each step deliberate, the house's creaks blending with the tempest's sigh. The parlour's empty, lamps dimmed, Mrs. Cartwright in her office tallying the night's take. Her notebooks scratch the only sound piercing the lull. Mrs. Cartwright looks up as you pass, her shrewd eyes softened by fatigue. That's all for tonight, Mary. Storm's keeping the rest away. Relief washes through you, permission to shed the evening's armour, and you murmur thanks, climbing to the top floor, the stairs seeming longer in your tiredness. Your shared room welcomes, with its simplicity, Lily already there in her nightdress, brushing her auburn hair with slow strokes, the lamp's glow casting warm shadows. "Finished?" she asks, and you nod, beginning to undress, buttons yielding under your fingers, the silk pooling at your feet like shed skin. The corset loosens with a sigh, lungs expanding fully, and the plain cotton nightdress envelops you, soft and undemanding, a return to self. You unpin your hair, dark waves tumbling free, and brush it out, the repetitive pull soothing, releasing the last tensions. Lily chats softly about the group's rowdiness, her client a blur of brandy breath and quick demands, but the talk turns reflective. "Ever think of a different life, Mary?" You pause, memories of seamstress hunger flashing, but reply, "Sometimes, but this one's kept me alive." She nods, understanding the price paid, and you both are ready for bed. The storm's roar a backdrop that drowns the city's hum. You extinguish the lamp, slipping under the wool blanket, the horsehair mattress lumpy but heavenly to your exhausted form, body sinking in, limbs heavy as lead. The sheets cool at first, warming gradually with your heat, and you shift to that perfect spot, muscles unwinding completely, a pleasant heaviness settling like a weighted quilt. Lily's Night Mary drifts softly, and you murmur back, words blurring as sleep encroaches. The day's mosaic fades, chores, doctor, clients, those puzzling leavings, giving way to impressions, warmth of tea, silk's whisper, rain's lull. Your breathing slows, deep and even, each exhale carrying you deeper. The storm's patter a natural cradle song. Thunder distant now, wind sighing around the eaves. In this drowsy threshold, a quiet wisdom emerges. The Victorian world's hypocrisies, seeming small against humanity's timeless struggles. Your thread in the tapestry, one of resilience amid constraints. The brothel's risks and bonds, society's scorn and secrets, all recede, leaving just the simple truth of rest, renewal in sleep's embrace. Your eyelids grow impossibly heavy, limbs anchored, mind drifting on the rain's gentle sea. floating effortlessly toward unconsciousness. The puzzles dissolve, the day's weight lifts, just this peaceful surrender, breath by breath, sinking fully into deep, restoring slumber. As the storm softens outside, its rhythm lulling like a whispered promise, you feel the last threads of wakefulness unravel. Your body melts into the mattress, every muscle releasing its hold. The room's quiet deepens, Lily's breathing steady across the way, the house creaking gently as if sighing goodnight. Thoughts blur into fragments, seaside dreams, a jam-tart sweetness, the warmth of shared laughter, fading like mist in morning light. Your chest rises and falls in slow waves, the blanket's weight a comforting cocoon, eyelids sealed by fatigue's gentle seal. No more demands, no performances, just the pure ease of letting go, drifting deeper with each exhale, the world's edges softening, colors muting to gray, then black. Sleep claims you fully now, a velvet tide pulling you under, renewing strength for whatever dawn brings. Rest easy, let dreams whisper if they will. The storms hush your final lullaby, carrying you through the night in peaceful oblivion.